In Lothlorien, an elf could watch the same golden leaf fall for 100 years, and it would never reach the ground. This is not poetry. This is the literal truth of the Golden Wood. Time does not move in Lothlorien the way it moves elsewhere in Middle-earth. The cause is a ring. Not the one ring, one of the three, Nenya, the ring of adamant. Worn by Galadriel herself, its power preserves. It holds back decay. It stops the march of seasons. It creates a bubble where the elder days linger. Mortals who enter Lothlorien sometimes emerge decades later. They believe only days have passed. Their friends outside have aged. Their children have grown. But to the visitor, it felt like a weekend. The effect is not imagination. It is measurable. There are records in Rivendell of such cases. A Dunedain ranger entered in TA 2950. He emerged in TA 2953. For him, it was 3 days. For Middle-earth, it was 3 years. His horse, left outside the borders, had died of old age. The temporal boundary is visible if you know where to look. At the edges of the forest, reality shivers. The air thickens, colours become more saturated, sounds grow muffled. Then you cross over, and time slows, not stops, slows, like honey pouring in winter. The sun still rises and sets beyond the trees, but within the Golden Wood, twilight dominates. The great mallorn trees filter all light to a golden haze. Morning and evening look nearly identical. Noon feels like dusk. Midnight never quite arrives. This is deliberate. Galadriel shaped it this way. She remembers Valinor. She remembers the light of the two trees. Lothlorien is her attempt to recreate that light, the golden glow of Laurelin, the silver shimmer of Telperion. Here she has made both linger. The mallorn trees themselves are the key. They grow nowhere else in Middle-earth. Nowhere. This fact is not widely known outside Lothlorien, but it is absolute. You will find oaks in Fangorn, beeches in Ithilien, birches in the Iron Hills. But mallorn trees exist only here, and according to the ancient records, they should not exist at all. Mallorn trees are not native to Middle-earth. They come from Valinor, from the Undying Lands. They were brought to Middle-earth in the Elder Days, by elves fleeing west to east, by Galadriel herself, some say. Though she does not confirm this, most died. The soil was wrong, the light was wrong. Middle-earth could not sustain them, except here, in this one valley. Where Galadriel's power pooled, where Nenya's preservation took hold, the mallorn trees survived. More than survived, they thrived. They grew to impossible heights. 300 feet, 400. Some of the oldest approach 500 feet tall. Their trunks are vast, 30 feet across at the base, smooth silver bark that glows faintly at night. Not metaphorically, literally glows, a soft phosphorescence, like starlight captured in wood. The branches begin high up, 70 feet above the ground. They spread wide, creating platforms of wood and leaf, natural floors in the sky. This is where the Galadrim live, not on the ground, up in the branches, in structures called flets. The ground level of Lothlorien is dark. Very dark. The canopy blocks almost all direct light. Moss grows thick. Ferns cluster near the streams, but it is not a place for living. It is a place for passing through. The true life of the forest happens above, in the golden light. Among the branches, the mallorn trees do something else unusual. They flower and fruit simultaneously. This should be impossible. Plants follow a cycle: bud, flower, fruit, seed, dormancy. Not mallorn trees. They do all stages at once. Golden flowers hang beside ripening fruit. New buds form next to falling seeds. There is no spring or autumn in their life cycle, only continuous abundance. The flowers smell of honey and sunlight, a scent that drifts through the entire forest. It is one of the first things visitors notice. The air tastes sweet. The fruit is small, golden silver. shaped like elongated teardrops. The Galadrim eat them sparingly. They're not particularly nourishing, but they do not rot. A fruit can hang on the branch for years, still fresh, still edible. This is Nenya's work again. Preservation, stasis, the defiance of natural law. Some mallorn trees in Lothlorien are over 6,000 years old. They were saplings in the First Age. They watched the stars before the moon existed. Galadriel speaks to them sometimes, in a language older than Sindarin, older than Quenya, a tongue of growth and root. The trees remember. They remember Beleriand. They remember the light of the Silmarils. They remember things even Galadriel has begun to forget. And they whisper these memories back to her, in the movement of branches, in the pattern of falling leaves, in the creaking of wood on windless nights. The Galadrim have built their civilization into these trees. The flets are not simple platforms. They are architectural marvels, grown as much as built. The elves do not cut living wood. They shape it, sing to it, encourage it to grow in specific forms. A branch will curve to create a railing. 2 branches will twine to form a rope ladder. A hollow will expand to become a dwelling. This takes time, years, decades. But the Galadrim have time. They have endless time. A flet might take 50 years to complete. The elf who begins it might be the one who finishes it. Unchanged, unaged. The platforms connect via bridges. Some are woven from mallorn fibres. Others are living branches trained to grow between trees. The bridges sway, gently, constantly. Walking in Lothlorien requires balance. There is always movement. The trees breathe, the wind rises, the bridges respond. Nothing is quite still. Even in Galadriel's preserved realm, the forest lives. At the heart of Lothlorien stands Caras Galadon, the city in the trees. It is built on and around the 3 largest mallorn trees in the forest. These trees are ancient beyond reckoning. They may have been the first mallorn to successfully root in Middle-earth. Their trunks are 60 feet across. Their canopies merge into a single golden crown. Visible from miles away, the city rises in 3 tiers. The lowest level, still high above the ground, houses workshops and storage. The middle level contains dwellings and gathering spaces. The highest level is reserved for Galadriel and Celeborn. Their Talon, the great platform, sits where the 3 trees meet. It is the political and spiritual centre of Lothlorien. From here, Galadriel watches. She watches the borders. She watches the stars. She watches the slow unfolding of the Third Age. She has stood in this place for nearly 5,000 years, since TA 1981, when they fled from Erigion's fall. Before that, she dwelt in other realms, but here she has remained longest. Here she has built her final stronghold, her last attempt to preserve something of the Elder Days. The city itself houses perhaps 3,000 elves. This is all that remains of the Galadrim, 3,000. In the First Age, the elves numbered in the hundreds of thousands. In the Second Age, still tens of thousands. Now, a few thousand. Scattered, divided, fading. Lothlorien is one of the last great elf realms in Middle-earth. Only Rivendell and the Grey Havens compare, and both are smaller. Lothlorien is the final flowering, the last golden moment before sunset. Life in the Golden Wood follows rhythms unlike anywhere else. The Galadrim possess a secret. They have not truly slept in over 2,000 years. This requires explanation. Elves do not sleep as mortals do. They do not lose consciousness. They do not dream. Instead, they rest. They enter a state the Sindar call olos, waking sleep. The body stills. The eyes may close, but the mind remains aware. They can hear. They can sense. If danger approaches, they react instantly. No grogginess, no confusion. Full awareness maintained. This is the normal elvish rest. But in Lothlorien, even this has changed. The Galadrim rest less. The timeless quality of the forest has seeped into their bodies. They can go weeks without all loss. Some go months. The effect is not harmful. They do not grow weary. Nenya's preservation extends to them too. But it creates a strange existence, consciousness unbroken across years, decades, centuries, no pause, no reset, no temporary escape from existence, just continuous awareness. This would drive mortals mad. The human mind needs sleep, needs the break, needs the processing that happens in dreams. Elves are different. They do not forget. They do not need to consolidate memory. Every moment remains clear, every conversation remembered, every sight catalogued, but still, the weight accumulates. There are Galadrim who have been awake, continuously awake, for 500 years. They have watched the same trees, walked the same bridges, stood the same watches, without interruption, without relief. They speak less as the centuries pass. What is there to say that has not been said? What observation to make that is not already known? Silence becomes easier, more comfortable. Some of the eldest Galadrim go months without speaking. They stand their watch, they perform their duties, but words seem increasingly unnecessary. The Night Watchers where this is most apparent. The Galadrim maintain constant surveillance of their borders. This has been true since the founding of Lothlorien, since the threat of Dol Guldur emerged in TA 1050. Nearly 2,000 years of unbroken vigilance. The watch rotates, but it never ends. There are elves stationed in the northern flets, in the eastern approaches, along the Silverlode River, at the southern bridges, every approach monitored, every sightline covered. These elves stand or sit for hours, sometimes days, in the high branches, in all weather, watching, waiting. They do not grow bored. Boredom is a mortal affliction, the product of a mind evolved for constant stimulation. Elves can be still, perfectly still, for durations that would break human sanity. They watch the darkness between the trees. They listen to the whisper of wind through leaves. They count the stars as they wheel overhead. Slowly, so slowly. The stars themselves seem to move faster in Lothlorien. This is an illusion. The stars move at their fixed rate, but for the elves, time stretched by Nenya's power, the stars seem almost hasty, racing across the sky, while the elves remain constant, unchanging. There is a guard named Rumil. He has watched the northern border for 437 years, the same section of forest, the same 3 mallorn trees, the same view toward Mirkwood. He knows every branch, every knot in the wood, every pattern of shadow. He can tell time by which birds sing. He can predict rain by the scent on the wind 3 hours before it arrives. He can identify individual trees in Mirkwood by their silhouette against the stars. This is not exceptional. This is normal for a Galadrim border guard. Deep, deep knowledge, born from endless repetition, from attention sustained across centuries. Rumil does not find this boring. He finds it meditative. Each watch is the same, and each watch is different. The pattern of clouds changes. A new owl is nested nearby. The angle of starlight shifts by tiny degrees as years pass. These small variations are enough. They are everything. Mortals who serve brief watches with the Galadrim find it disturbing. The silence, the stillness, the sense that time is not passing correctly. Aragorn once stood watch with Haldir for a night. He asked how Haldir endured it. The monotony. Haldir looked confused. What monotony? He asked. For him, there was none. Each moment was complete. Each moment was sufficient. No need for it to lead elsewhere. No need for change. Just presence. Just awareness. The Galadrim watch for threats, but in 2,000 years, direct attacks have been rare. The power of Galadriel keeps most enemies at bay. Orcs will not enter the Golden Wood. They feel its power. It burns them, not with fire, with light, with holiness. with the concentrated essence of everything they hate, so they avoid it, they circle around, they travel far out of their way to avoid even approaching the borders. This means the guards see little action. They watch, they wait, they see distant fires in Mirkwood sometimes, they hear the drums of Dol Guldur on still nights, but direct confrontation, rare, very rare, yet they watch anyway. Because one day, the enemy will come. They all know this. Galadriel has told them. The final battle approaches, the age is ending, and when it comes, they must be ready. So they watch. 400 years of watching for a battle that may come tomorrow. Or in another 100 years. The uncertainty does not trouble them. Patience is not a virtue for elves. It is simply their nature. During the long watches, the Galadrim communicate without words. They have developed a system, a language of mirrors and reflected light. Each guard carries a small silver mirror, polished to perfection. At night, they use it to catch starlight. During the day, the diffuse golden light of the forest. By angling the mirror, they can send flashes. Short flash, long flash, pause, a code. Simpler than words, but sufficient for basic messages. All clear. Movement detected. Change of watch. Visitor approaching. The mirrors talk to each other across miles of forest. A message can travel from the northern border to Caras Galadon in minutes, faster than any runner. Silent. Secret. Enemies watching would see only random glints of light. The Galadrim also use bird calls, but not random calls, specific patterns. The cry of a wood thrush means one thing. The whistle of a nightingale means another. They practice these calls until they are indistinguishable from real birds. Even other elves can be fooled. The real birds sometimes answer. This creates confusion, but useful confusion. It masks the true signals. In winter, communication becomes harder. The birds migrate. The stars are often hidden by clouds. Snow muffles sound. So the guards must rely more on their own awareness, on the sense that all Galadrim develop, the sense of the forest itself. Lothlorien has a presence, a consciousness almost, not the trees themselves, but the collective awareness of all the elves who dwell here, their attention merged, their vigilance shared. When one guard senses something wrong, others feel it too. A disturbance, a wrongness. Hard to describe to outsiders, but real, measurable in the reaction of the forest. Trees lean away from threats, roots shift to create obstacles, paths that were clear become tangled. This is not magic in the sense of spells, it is the natural response of a living ecosystem shaped by elven presence. The trees have learned. They know friend from foe. They respond accordingly. In the depths of winter, the cold becomes profound. Even Galadriel's power does not eliminate winter entirely. It slows it, softens it, but the cold still comes. The Galadrim feel it less than mortals would, but they feel it. Ice forms on the ropes and bridges. The platforms become slippery. Snow accumulates in the high branches. Not much. The mallorn leaves remain, creating partial shelter, but some snow filters through. It piles in the corners of flets, against the trunks, in the hollows. The guards on winter watch stand in this cold for hours, sometimes days, unmoving. Frost forms in their hair, ice crystals on their cloaks, but they remain, still, silent, watching. This is perhaps the closest thing to suffering that the Galadrim experience. Not the cold itself, but the duration, the unending nature of it, the knowledge that this watch will not end, that when they are relieved, another will take their place, and then another, and another, forever, until Lothlorien itself ends. Some guards prefer winter watch. The cold keeps them alert. The deprivation gives structure to formless time. Without challenges, without hardship, existence becomes too smooth, too easy. The mind drifts, loses focus, forgets why it is here. The cold prevents this. It demands presence. It requires attention. You cannot drift while freezing. So some volunteer for the longest, coldest watches. They find purpose in the discomfort, meaning in the endurance. The Galadrim are warriors. This is sometimes forgotten by outsiders who see only their beauty, only the golden light, only the singing. But every adult elf in Lothlorien has trained with bow and blade for centuries. They are not pacifists. They are soldiers who have not had a war. This creates a strange tension. They maintain skills they rarely use. They practice for battles that do not come. Every elf knows the weight of their bow, knows the draw strength, knows their effective range to the yard. They practice in the clearings below the trees, where the ground is flat, where targets can be set. They shoot at marks on distant trees, at moving targets suspended from ropes, at each other's cast arrows splitting them mid-flight, not showing off, simply maintaining accuracy, keeping the muscle memory fresh. These practice sessions happen irregularly, sometimes weekly, sometimes they lapse for months. Time is strange in Lothlorien. Routines shift. What seems urgent today feels distant tomorrow, but eventually they practice again. They must, because they know the day is coming, the war, the final count of the age, when Sauron moves, and Lothlorien will not remain untouched. In the workshops of Caras Galadon, the Galadrim create the things they will need. Arrows by the thousands, perfectly straight shafts, perfectly balanced, fletched with eagle feathers, tipped with steel, forged in techniques older than Numenor. Bows of yew and ash, curved, powerful, capable of punching through plate armour at 200 yards, and rope, the legendary Hithlain. The rope that caught Frodo on the slopes of Mount Doom was made by hands that had been weaving for 3,000 years. This is not metaphor, this is literal truth. The rope makers of Lothlorien are among the oldest of the Galadrim. They learnt their craft in the Second Age. From teachers who learned it in the First, the technique traces back to Valinor itself, to the great craftsman of the Noldor. Hithlain is made from mallorn fibres. But not just any mallorn fibres, specific fibres from specific parts of the tree, inner bark, harvested in specific seasons, or what passes for seasons in Lothlorien. The bark is stripped in long ribbons, thin as thread, strong as wire. These ribbons are soaked in water from the Silver Lode for exactly 7 days, not 6, not 8. The timing matters. Then they are dried in starlight, not sunlight. Starlight. This requires patience. Starlight is weak. Drying takes weeks, but it must be starlight. The rope makers cannot explain why. It is simply known. The dried fibres are then split, combed, separated into individual strands finer than hair. These strands are twisted together, first in groups of 3, then those twisted bundles are twisted again in groups of 3, then again and again. Each level of twisting creates exponentially more strength. A single Hithlain rope thin as a finger can support the weight of a warhorse, and it never rots, never weakens, never frays. It can lie buried in mud for a century and emerge unchanged. This is why Galadriel gave Hithlain rope to the Fellowship. It was not a minor gift. Each coil represented months of work, by elves who had practiced the craft for millennia. The rope given to Sam saved the quest. When Frodo fell unconscious on the slopes of Mount Doom, Sam lowered him with that rope. The rope held. If it had been mortal rope, it would have snapped. Frodo would have fallen, the ring would have remained, history would have turned differently, all from rope, from mallorn fibres twisted by ancient hands. The rope makers work in a specific flet, lower level of Caras Galadon, north-facing. The starlight reaches them there without obstruction. They work in silence. Hours pass, days pass. The only sound is the whisper of fibres sliding against each other, the rhythmic motion of twisting. Over, under, over, under. Their hands never stop, never hesitate. muscle memory built over thousands of years, they can work in complete darkness. They often do, blindfolded, to ensure their fingers know the way without sight. To guarantee consistency, a rope must be perfect. One weak point means failure, so every twist must be identical, every tension the same. This requires meditation, a blank mind, no thought, only action. The rope makers are among the quietest elves in Lothlorien. They have learned to silence thought, to become the motion itself. Words feel clumsy after that. Conversation seems unnecessarily complex. Why speak when you can simply be? Some have not spoken in over a century. They communicate through small gestures if needed, a nod, a tilt of the head. Enough. There is an elf named Lindell. She has made rope for 3,200 years. She learned from her mother in the Second Age, in a region, before the Fall. She fled with Galadriel and Celeborn, brought her tools, brought the knowledge, continued the craft in Lothlorien. She has made enough rope to circle Middle-earth. Not an exaggeration. If you laid all her completed rope end to end, it would stretch from the Grey Havens to Rune and back again. Most of that rope is in use. Bridges in the forest, rigging on ships, emergency supplies stored in every border outpost, gift to allies. A single coil of Lindell's rope was given to Elrond 400 years ago. It still hangs in Rivendell, used occasionally, never worn, never weakened. Lindell does not think about her total output. She thinks about the current twist, the current fibre, this moment, this motion, nothing else. Time collapses when you work this way. 3,000 years feels like a continuous present, one long afternoon, one extended meditation. The work does not get boring. Boring implies anticipation of ending. Lindell does not anticipate ending, she simply continues. Twist, pull, forever. Or until Lothlorien ends, whichever comes first. The workshops also produce cloth. The grey-green cloaks given to the Fellowship. These are famous, but their making is less famous. The process is similar to rope making. Lawn fibres, specific harvest times, long soaking, careful drying, but instead of twisting, the fibres are woven. The looms are ancient, wooden frames 20 feet tall, polished by centuries of use. The weavers work standing, throwing shuttles back and forth. The rhythm is hypnotic. Clack, shuttle, beat, clack, shuttle, beat. Hours blend together. A single cloak takes weeks to weave. The pattern is complex. The colours shift. Grey in shadow, green in light, brown in twilight, blue in starlight. This is not dye. It is the nature of the fibres themselves. Mallorn responds to light differently than normal plants. Its cellular structure refracts and reflects in complex ways. The weavers do not understand the mechanism. They only know it works. The pattern itself is elvish, geometric, recursive. It resembles leaves. It resembles stars. It resembles something ancient and mathematical. The eye cannot quite resolve it. It shifts as you look. This is intentional. The pattern confuses the eye, makes the wearer harder to track, harder to focus on. Not invisibility, but something close. Reduced presence. The grey-green cloaks were originally made for the border guards, to help them blend with the forest, to let them watch unseen. They work extraordinarily well. A Galadrim wrapped in such a cloak can stand 10 feet away, and you will not see them. Your eyes slide past. Your attention moves elsewhere. Even knowing they are there, you struggle to maintain focus. This is not magic in the sense of spells. It is craft, technique refined over millennia, understanding of light and perception, applied with perfect precision. Galadriel gifted these cloaks to the Fellowship for practical reasons. They needed concealment. They needed to pass unseen. The cloaks would help, and they did. Sam wore his throughout the journey. It saved him repeatedly. On the slopes of Amon Hen, in Ithilien, near the Black Gate. Orcs looked right at him and saw nothing. A rock, a shrub, something unimportant. Not a hobbit, never a hobbit. The cloak's value exceeded all the gold in the Shire. But Sam did not know this. To him, it was simply a useful gift from kind elves. This is perhaps the greatest irony of Galadriel's gifts. Their true worth was invisible to the recipients. Food is a quiet concern in Lothlorien. The Galadrim do not need much food, less than mortals. Their preserved state means they burn little energy. But they still eat, still need sustenance. The forest provides some food, the mallorn fruit though not very nourishing, nuts from other trees allowed to grow among the mallorns, mushrooms from the forest floor, fish from the streams, venison, rarely when hunting is permitted. But the most important food is lembas, the way bread. A single bite of lembas can sustain an elf for a day's march, and it will taste as fresh in 100 years as the day it was baked. This is not exaggeration. Lembas does not spoil, cannot spoil. It exists outside normal time, like everything else in Lothlorien. The secret of lembas making is closely guarded. Only certain elf women know the process. They learned it from their mothers, who learnt from their mothers, back through the centuries. The origin is Valinor itself. The Valar taught the first elves. This knowledge passed west to east with the Noldor. Most of it was lost in the wars of Beleriand, but some survived. Galadriel knows the making. She is taught a select few. Perhaps 20 elves in all of Lothlorien possess the knowledge. They do not share it, not out of selfishness, out of protection. Lemba making is not just craft, it is sacred ritual. It requires purity of purpose, clarity of mind. Specific words must be spoken, specific movements performed. The ingredients seem ordinary: flour, water, honey, salt. But they are not ordinary. The flour is ground from a grain that grows nowhere outside Lothlorien, a grain that itself may have come from Valinor. Small, golden, hardy. It grows in small plots tended by the lembas makers, harvested by hand. Ground between stones blessed by Galadriel herself, the water must come from a specific spring, a spring fed by the Silverlode. But not just any part of the Silverlode, a specific source, high in the Misty Mountains, where the water first emerges from snowmelt, before it has touched any stone downstream. The lembas makers make pilgrimages to collect this water once per year. A journey of 3 days each way. They carry silver vessels. They speak prayers in Quenya as they fill them. They return to Caras Galadon. The water is stored in a sealed chamber, used sparingly throughout the year. The honey comes from bees that feed on mallorn flowers. Their honey is golden, thick, impossibly sweet. The bees themselves are a treasure. They are descendants of bees brought from Valinor, or so it is said. No one knows for certain, but their honey is unlike any other in Middle-earth. The salt is sea salt, from the Bay of Belfalas, carried overland by traders, purified, blessed. Even the salt must be right. The baking occurs in a specific building, small, stone, ancient. It predates Caras Galadon itself. It may have been built in the Second Age. The oven is clay, fed with wood from fallen mallorn branches, never living wood, only wood that has fallen naturally. The lembas makers work in silence, complete silence. No words, no songs, only the quiet focus of sacred work. They mix the ingredients in specific proportions. These proportions are not written, they are felt, known through practice. The dough is kneaded for a long time, longer than seems necessary, but every motion matters, every fold. It is shaped into thin cakes, wrapped in mallorn leaves, placed in the oven. The baking takes hours, low heat, slow cooking. The smell that emerges is indescribable. Sweetness, light, something like memory, something like hope. When the lembas is finished, it is wrapped carefully, each cake in a single leaf, bound with thin thread, stored in cool darkness. It does not need storage strictly. It will not spoil, but tradition dictates care, respect for the food. Lembas is not eaten casually in Lothlorien. It is saved, rationed, used for long journeys, for border guards on extended watch, for emergencies. A single cake can sustain an elf for days, not comfortably, but adequately. This makes it invaluable for situations where normal food cannot be carried. The lembas given to the Fellowship saved them. Without it, Frodo and Sam would have starved in Mordor. No other food could have sustained them. Lembas provided just enough strength, just enough hope, to continue one more step, and another, all the way to Mount Doom. The making of lembas is tiring for the makers, despite their elvish endurance, despite Nenya's preservation. The ritual drained something, put something of themselves into the bread. After a baking session, the lembas makers rest. True rest. Olos. Sometimes for days, this is accepted, expected. Their work is valued, essential. They are honoured among the Gladrim. There is an elf named Miriel. She has made lembas for 2,000 years. She's one of the 20 who know the full ritual. She learned from Galadriel directly. Miriel remembers the taste of food in Valinor. She's old enough to have been born there, sailed east with the Noldor. The food of a man was different, she says, richer, more alive. It did not just sustain the body, it sustained the spirit. It made you more yourself, more real. The food of Middle-earth, even lembas, is a pale echo. But it is the best that can be made here, in this diminished world. She does not speak of this often. It makes the younger elves sad, those born in Middle-earth, who have never seen the Undying Lands, who know Valinor only through songs, through stories told by their elders, to hear that even their best efforts are pale echoes. It is hard. So Miriel stays quiet. She makes her lembas. She does her work. She remembers silently. The Silverlode River runs along Lothlorien's eastern border. The Celebrant flows to the south. These rivers are life to the forest. They provide water, fish, transportation routes, and they mark boundaries. Beyond the Silverlode lies Mirkwood, the dark forest, the corrupted realm, once called Greenwood the Great, now twisted by the shadow of Dol Guldur. The contrast is stark. On the western bank, Lothlorien, golden, preserved, beautiful. On the eastern bank, Mirkwood, dark, decaying, dangerous. The same river separates them. The same water flows past both. But the difference is absolute. Galadriel's power ends at the water's edge. Beyond that, her protection does not reach. The Galadrim sometimes stand on their bank, looking east, watching Mirkwood, seeing what their forest might become. Without Galadriel, without Nenya, without preservation, just natural decay, just time. Just darkness creeping in. It is a sobering sight, a reminder of what they fight against. Not orcs, not Sauron, entropy, ending, the inevitable decay of all things. The rivers themselves flow swiftly, fed by mountain snows, cold, clear. The Galadrim do not drink directly from them often. They prefer spring water, water that has been filtered through stone, purified, but they use river water for other purposes, washing, cooling, sometimes swimming in the rare warm days. The rivers are not safe for mortals. The current is too strong, the water too cold. A human who falls in will be swept away, will drown or freeze within minutes. But elves are stronger swimmers. They can navigate the current. They sometimes use the Silverlode to travel quickly, riding the flow downstream. It is faster than walking through the forest, but more dangerous, more exposed. Still, for urgent messages, it is sometimes used. An elf can reach the southern borders in hours, versus days of walking. At night, the rivers look like molten silver, reflecting starlight, flowing light. It is one of the most beautiful sights in Lothlorien. The Galadrim sometimes gather at the banks, just to watch, to see the stars flow past, to remember that things still move, still change, even here, even in the timeless wood. The water does not care about Nenya's power. It flows as it always has, as it always will, until the mountains crumble, until the seas dry. The rivers are a reminder of the world outside, the world that continues, the world that does not stop. Lothlorien can preserve its trees, its people, its beauty, but it cannot stop the rivers, cannot halt the flow of water. This is both comfort and warning. Some things are beyond even Galadriel, some forces too fundamental to control. The Galadrim accept this, they do not resent it, they find peace in it even. Not everything must be preserved. Some things should flow, should change, should move on, just not yet, not while they can still hold on. The border between Lothlorien and the outside world is not just geographical, it is psychological, metaphysical. You can feel when you cross it. The air changes, becomes thicker, more present, colours intensify, sounds soften, time adjusts. Mortals find this disturbing, the sense that they are stepping out of the normal world into somewhere other, somewhere that should not exist. The Galadrim maintain strict watch at all crossing points. There are only a few ways into Lothlorien: the northern approach from the Old Forest Road, the eastern bridges across the Silverlode, the southern fords of the Celebrant, the western path through the foothills. Each entrance is guarded, constantly. No one enters without being seen, without being tested. The testing is subtle, not a formal examination, but the guards watch, they assess, they determine intent. This is not mind reading, not magic, just deep observation. Elves can read body language in ways mortals cannot. They notice micro-expressions, hesitations, the way someone holds their weight, the direction of their gaze. From these tiny signals, they build a complete picture. Friend or foe, threat or ally, those judged dangerous are turned away. Politely, firmly, no explanation given, just. You may not pass. Most accept this. Some argue. It never helps. The guards do not debate. They do not justify. They simply enforce. The borders of Lothlorien are absolute. Galadriel's will made physical. Very few mortals have entered Lothlorien in the last 500 years. 3 perhaps. Gandalf, Aragorn, Gimli the Dwarf. With the Fellowship, that is all. 3 individuals in half a millennium. The isolation is nearly total. This is deliberate. Lothlorien is not a refuge for wanderers, not a shelter for the lost. It is a preserve, a museum, a final holdout of the Elder Days. Letting too many mortals in would corrupt that, would bring the outside world in, would speed the decay. So the borders stay closed, the guards stay vigilant, and Lothlorien remains. Pure, isolated, fading, but slowly, so slowly. Gandalf the Grey is one of only 3 mortals to have freely entered Lothlorien in the last 500 years, and he visits bearing news the elves both crave and dread. Gandalf is different from other visitors. The guards do not test him, they know him, have known him for centuries. He walks the paths of Lothlorien as if he belongs. In some ways, he does. His relationship with Galadriel goes back to the Second Age, perhaps earlier. They share knowledge, share purpose, both oppose Sauron, both work to preserve what can be preserved. But Gandalf brings news of the outside world, and the outside world is changing, rapidly. The War of the Ring approaches, Sauron grows in strength, the Free Peoples fracture, darkness spreads. The Galadrim hear these reports with mixed feelings. Part of them wants to know, needs to know. They cannot remain forever ignorant, but part of them wishes Gandalf would not come, wishes the news would stop, wishes they could pretend the outside world does not exist, that Lothlorien is all there is, that the Third Age will never end, but it will. They all know this. Galadriel especially knows this. She has seen it. In her mirror, in the stars, in her own prescient awareness. The end is coming. Gandalf's visits become more frequent as the age wanes. Once per decade in earlier times. Once per year in recent centuries. Now, in the last years before the war, he comes every few months. Each visit brings more urgent news. The ring has been found, Frodo bears it. The quest is launched. The fellowship forms. They will come to Lothlorien. They will need aid. Galadriel prepares. She knows what must be given. Lembas, rope, cloaks, the mirror's visions, advice for each member. She has foreseen it, planned for it. When the fellowship arrives, she is ready. But seeing them still affects her. Mortals in her realm. For the first time in generations, the contrast is jarring. They are so young, so brief, so fragile. Their lives flicker like candles. Here and gone, the hobbits especially, they seem almost like children, small, innocent, unaware of the weight they carry. Frodo bears the ring. She can feel it. A cold weight, a malignant presence. It calls to her, offers power, offers dominion. She refuses, has always refused, will always refuse. But the temptation never fully leaves. This is her test. Her eternal burden, to wield power and not use it, to possess Nenya and not dominate, to remain Galadriel, not a dark queen. The Fellowship stays in Lothlorien for weeks. Time is strange for them. They feel they stay for a month. Outside, perhaps only days pass, or perhaps years. They cannot tell, and neither can the Galadrim. Time within the Golden Wood does not map cleanly to time outside. The relationship is fluid, variable. During their stay, the Fellowship rests, recovers. Legolas is delighted. He is elf among elves again, speaking his native tongue, walking familiar paths. He climbs the mallorn trees, sleeps in the flets, sings the old songs. For him, Lothlorien is homecoming. Gimli is suspicious at first. Dwarves and elves have been estranged for an age. Old grudges run deep. But Galadriel's grace wins him. He looks upon her and sees beauty beyond reckoning. When offered a gift, he asks only for a strand of her hair. She gives him 3. This is significant. Feanor himself once asked for a single strand. She refused him. 3 times he asked, 3 times denied. But to Gimli, a dwarf, she gives 3 strands freely. This is grace. This is forgiveness. This is the beginning of healing between kindreds. Gimli will treasure those hairs all his life, will set them in imperishable crystal, will carry them through the war, will keep them until his death, and the rift between dwarf and elf will begin, slowly, to close. Aragorn walks Lothlorien with memories. He was here before, years ago, decades ago. He met Arwen here, fell in love among these trees, under these stars. The same stars that shine now, unchanged. Arwen is not here now. She has gone to Rivendell, to await the outcome of the war, to await him, or to await his death. Aragorn walks the paths they walk together, remembers, grieves, hopes. The hobbits are overwhelmed. Merry and Pippin stare at everything, ask endless questions. The Galadrim tolerate this with patience, answer when they can. Sam is quieter, more respectful. He senses he is in a place beyond his understanding, a place of power, of sanctity. He tries not to disturb anything, tries to leave no mark. This humility is noted, respected. Frodo spends much time alone. The ring weighs on him. He feels its pull, feels Sauron's distant attention. Even here, even in Lothlorien, the ring is never silent, never still. It whispers, promises, offers solutions. Frodo resists, but it is hard, so hard. Galadriel offers him the mirror, a silver basin, filled with water from the silver lode. She speaks words over it. It It shows visions, things that are, things that were, things that may yet be. Frodo looks. He sees the Shire burning, his friends enslaved, the world dominated by Sauron, but he also sees hope, narrow paths to victory, fragile threads of chance. He understands his burden, understands the necessity. He will continue, must continue. There is no other way. The mirror shows Sam as well. He sees the Shire too, sees Ted Sandyman's mill, sees trees cut down. He wants to go home, wants to fix it, but he understands he cannot. Not yet. First the ring, first the quest, then perhaps home. When the Fellowship departs, the Galadrim give them gifts, not just objects, but symbols, each gift chosen specifically for each individual. Aragorn receives a scabbard, Frodo receives the light of Eärendil, Sam receives earth from Galadriel's garden. Each gift will prove essential, will save lives, will turn the tide at crucial moments. The Galadrim understand this. They see further than mortals. They know what is needed, even if they cannot speak it directly. The Fellowship leaves by boat, down the Silver Lode, into the Anduin, away from the Golden Wood. The Galadrim watch them go, silent, still, knowing they may never see such visitors again, knowing the age is ending, that their time is past. The boats fade into distance, into mist, gone, and Lothlorien returns to its timeless silence, waiting, always waiting. The language of Lothlorien is Sindarin, but not quite the Sindarin spoken elsewhere. The dialect has drifted, evolved in isolation, developed unique characteristics. The Galadrim use archaic verb forms, preserve words that have been lost in other elven realms, invent new terms for experiences unique to their timeless existence. There is a Sindarin word used only in Lothlorien, Lomlesser. It means approximately the awareness of preserved time, the sensation of existing an extended present. No past distinct from now, no future separate from this moment, just continuous being. Other elves do not have this word, do not need it. Only the Galadrim experience Lomeles. Only they require language for it. Another word, Lorafania. Golden cloud. It describes the specific quality of light in the mallorn forest. The way sunlight diffuses through golden leaves, creating a luminous haze, thick as fog but made of light. This too is unique to Lothlorien, unique to their experience. Language shapes thought, thought shapes experience. The Galadrim think differently because they speak differently. Their Sindarin has tenses that do not exist in other dialects. A present eternal tense, a past that is still present, a future that has always been coming. These grammatical structures reflect their reality. They do not speak of events as finished, as done, as over. Even things millennia past remain somehow present. The kinslaying happens, not happened, happens. Because in memory so vivid, so unchanged, it is still occurring, still real, still present. This makes conversation with mortals difficult. Mortals speak in clear past, present, future. Elves blur these distinctions. When did you arrive? A mortal might ask. I arrive, an elf responds. The mortal is confused. The elf sees no error. Arrival is not complete. The process of being here continues, so present tense is correct. The Galadrim also possess words for states mortals never experience. Enyalia, the memory of unborn days, the sense of remembering things that have not yet happened. Galadriel experiences this constantly. Her foresight gives her memories of the future. These memories feel identical to memories of the past. Same vividness, same certainty, same presence in mind. So she needs a word that encompasses both. Enyalia. The lore masters of Lothlorien preserve more than just language. They preserve history, story, song. Knowledge accumulated across ages, but they do not write. No books in Lothlorien, no scrolls, no written records. Everything is memory. Everything is oral tradition. This seems precarious to mortals. Memory fades, details blur, stories change in retelling. But Elvish memory does not work this way. They remember perfectly, completely. A conversation from 2,000 years ago remains as clear as yesterday's. Every word, every inflection, every gesture, nothing lost, nothing distorted. This makes them living libraries, walking archives. Each elf contains centuries of perfect recall. The lore masters specialise in specific domains. One knows the complete genealogy of every elf in Lothlorien, back to their origins in Cuivienen, the place of awakening. Thousands of names, thousands of relationships, all held in memory. Another lore master knows the stars, every constellation, every star's position across the ages, the precession of equinoxes, the drift of celestial poles. He can tell you where any star was on any night in the last 7,000 years, without calculation, just memory. Another knows songs, every song composed by the Galadrim, every song brought from Valinor, every melody heard in Beleriand, thousands of songs, complete lyrics, complete melodies, ready to sing at any moment. These lore masters gather periodically to share knowledge, to teach the younger elves, though younger is relative. The youngest elf in Lothlorien is over 800 years old. The last birth was in the early Third Age, no children since. The Galadrim are not reproducing. This is common among elves in Middle-earth. As the world darkens, they withdraw from life, stop bearing children, stop creating new generations. It is a form of surrender, slow, dignified, but surrender nonetheless. So the lore masters teach their knowledge to adults, to elves who have heard it all before, many times before. But repetition is important. Memory, even perfect memory, needs reinforcement, needs structure, needs the social act of transmission. Teaching is not about information transfer. It is about ritual, about maintaining connection, about affirming that knowledge has value, that the past matters, that preservation is worthwhile. The teaching sessions happen in specific glades, below the trees, where sound carries. The lore masters speak, the audience listens, for hours, sometimes days, continuous recitation, the history of Beleriand, the deeds of the Noldor, the making of the Silmarils, the wars against Morgoth, the fall of Gondolin, the voyage of Arendil, all of it remembered, all of it preserved. Some of the listeners were there, witnessed these events personally, but they listen anyway, because hearing the formal recitation is different from personal memory. It places individual experience in context, shows the larger pattern, the meaning. Galadriel herself sometimes teaches. She is the oldest elf in Lothlorien, born in Valinor, before the sun, before the moon, when the world was lit only by stars, and by the two trees, Telperion and Lorelin. She remembers their light, actual memory, not song, not story. She stood beneath those trees, saw their illumination, felt their radiance. This memory is precious beyond measure. Because the trees are destroyed, dead for 7,000 years. Their light exists nowhere in the world, except in the memories of those who saw them, and those elves are vanishingly rare. Most sailed west long ago, most faded or died in the wars. Galadriel is one of the last. When she teaches about the trees, the Galadrim listen with absolute attention. She describes the silver light of Telperion, how it felt cool, clarifying, like water made visible. She describes the golden light of Lorelin, how it felt warm, nourishing, like sunlight before the sun existed. The trees alternated their light, 7 hours of silver, 7 hours of gold, 7 hours of silver, 7 hours of gold. This was the day in Valinor, 14 hours of light, always, no darkness, no night. The stars were dim, barely visible. The trees outshone them. Only during the brief twilight between tree lights could stars be seen. Those moments were treasured, sacred. The Valar themselves would pause during the twilight, would look up, would remember Ilúvatar's creation, the stars that predated all else. Galadriel's voice grows quiet when she speaks of the tree's destruction. Morgoth and Ungoliant, the attack, the draining of light, the death of something irreplaceable. The Galadrim have heard this story countless times, but it never loses its power, never becomes routine, because Galadriel speaks from direct witness, from personal trauma. She was there. She saw the darkness come, saw the light fail, and nothing was ever the same after. The sun and moon were made from the tree's last fruit and flower, but they are pale substitutes, harsh, distant, not the same. The sun burns, the moon is cold, the trees were perfect, were home, with the light of paradise itself, now gone forever. This loss permeates everything in Lothlorien, the attempt to preserve, the resistance to change, the clinging to the past. All of it stems from this, from having lost perfection once, from refusing to lose again. Even though loss is inevitable, even though the Third Age ends, even though nothing lasts forever, still they try, still they preserve, still they remember. Because memory is the final act of love. When everything else is taken, memory remains. Once a year, the Galadrim gather for a specific ceremony, the singing of names. This is perhaps their most sacred ritual. It happens on a night when specific stars align, when Eärendil rises bright. When the constellation of Manel-Makar, Orion, stands high, the entire population of Lothlorien gathers, 3,000 elves. They assemble in the largest glade, below Caras Galadon. The ground is soft, covered in moss, in fallen leaves. Galadriel and Celeborn stand at the centre, elevated slightly so all can see. The ceremony begins at full dark. Galadriel speaks first, in Quenya, the high tongue. She speaks the words of invocation, words that call to memory, that summon the presence of those lost. Then the naming begins. Every elf who died in Beleriand, every death in the wars against Morgoth, every loss recorded, every absence honoured. The Galadrim speak the names aloud, one at a time. Each elf speaks one name, then the next elf speaks, then the next, around the circle, continuous, unbroken. There are tens of thousands of names, perhaps 100,000. The exact count is uncertain. Records from the First Age are incomplete. Many died whose names were never learned. Many fell in places where no witness survived. But the names that are known are spoken, every single one. This takes 3 days, 3 full days of continuous naming. The elves do not sleep during this time, do not eat, do not rest. They stand, they speak, they listen. Some names are familiar. Heroes of legend, Feanor, Fingolfin, Finrod Felagund, Turin Turambar. These names everyone knows, but most names are obscure. Common soldiers, craftsmen, children, elves who lived ordinary lives, who died in ordinary ways. Their names are spoken with the same reverence, the same attention, because every life matters. Every death is worthy of remembrance. Some names cause visible reaction. Galadriel's own brothers died in Beleriand. When their names are spoken, she closes her eyes, does not weep. Elves do not weep easily, but grief is visible in her stillness, in the set of her shoulders. Celeborn too has lost friends, kin, companions of long centuries. When their names sound across the glade, he bows his head, remains silent, honours the absence. The younger elves, those born in the Second or Third Age, do not know most of these names, have never met these people, but they listen anyway. They bear witness. They ensure that the dead are not forgotten, that the First Age remains real, remains present, remains honoured. On the third day, as the final names are spoken, exhaustion shows. Even elves have limits. 3 days of standing, of speaking, of concentrated attention. It wears on them. Their voices grow hoarse, their stance less perfect, but they continue, must continue, until the last name is spoken, until the circle is complete. The final name is always the same. Galadriel speaks it herself. Gil-galad, the last High King of the Noldor, died fighting Sauron at the end of the Second Age. His death marked the end of an era, the end of the High Elven kingdoms. After Gil-galad, no new High King was crowned. The office ended with him. When Galadriel speaks his name, silence follows. Long silence. The entire assembly stands quiet, heads bowed, honouring not just Gil-galad, but all the dead, all the lost, all the ages that have passed. Then slowly the Galadrim begin to sing, not a song of mourning, a song of continuance, of life persisting, of the stars that remain. The melody is ancient, predates even Beleriand, may come from Cuiviénen itself, from the very beginning. It speaks of awakening, of first consciousness, of the joy of existence. This is the answer to death, not denial, not forgetting, but affirmation. We remain, we continue, we remember, and in remembering, the dead live. The ceremony ends with the rising of the sun. The first sunlight in 3 days touches the glade. The Galadrim disperse, return to their flets, sleep finally, deep sleep, true. Olos, that last for days. They have earned it. They have done the work. They have preserved the memory for another year, and they will do it again next year, and the year after, and every year until Lothlorien ends. Until the last Galadrim sails west, or fades into shadow, whichever comes first. From the high flets of northern Lothlorien, you can see Dol Guldur, the hill of sorcery, 20 miles away across the Anduin, a dark smudge on the horizon, a shadow that does not lift. Even in brightest day it remains dark, a hole in the world, a place where light goes to die. Dol Guldur was not always evil. Once it was called Amon Lank, the naked hill. In the Second Age it was simply a hill, high ground, a landmark, nothing more. But in the Third Age something moved into it, built a fortress, gathered power. For long centuries the identity of this power was unknown. The Elves called it the Necromancer. They knew it was evil, knew it was growing. But they did not know it was Sauron himself, returned from defeat, rebuilding, planning. It was not until TA 2850 that Gandalf confirmed the truth. By then, Dol Guldur had festered for nearly 2,000 years. Its corruption had spread through Mirkwood, had turned Greenwood into a place of horror. The Galadrim watch Dol Guldur constantly. It is their primary external threat, closer than Mordor, more immediate than distant Barad-dûr. On clear nights, lights are visible there. Not torches, not fires, cold lights, green, sickly, the colour of decay. Sometimes shapes move against the lights, large shapes. The Galadrim cannot identify them from this distance. Dragons, perhaps, or worse, things bred in Sauron's pits, abominations. The guards who watch Dol Guldur do so with particular vigilance, with particular dread, because they know that when the war comes, the assault will come from there. Across the Anduin, through Mirkwood, into Lothlorien. This is the obvious path, the strategic approach. Galadriel knows it. Celeborn knows it. Every guard knows it. They watch, they wait, they prepare. But preparation is difficult when time moves strangely, when urgency is dulled by preservation, when tomorrow feels like today. Still, they try. Arrows are stockpiled, bows tested, defences reviewed. The bridges across the Silverlode can be cut, dropped into the river, denying access, forcing attackers to swim or find other crossings. The Galadrim have plans for retreat, fallback positions, secondary defences, evacuation routes to the south and west. These plans exist. are updated periodically, but there is something half-hearted about them, something resigned, because the Galadrim know the truth. If Galadriel falls, Lothlorien falls. If Nenya fails, the Golden Wood ends. No amount of military preparation changes this. Their survival depends not on bows and arrows, but on Galadriel's will, on Nenya's power, on forces beyond conventional warfare. So they watch Dol Guldur, but they do not truly fear it. Or perhaps they fear it so completely that the fear has become normalized, become background, become part of the landscape, like the darkness itself. On very still nights, when wind does not blow, sounds carry across the Anduin. From Dol Guldur, drums, deep drums, rhythmic, slow, like a heartbeat, but wrong. The rhythm is off, syncopated in ways that disturb the ear, that make the listener uncomfortable. The Galadrim hear these drums and go silent. Conversation stops, music ends. They listen. Count the beats, try to discern meaning in the pattern. Sometimes the drums continue for hours, sometimes they stop abruptly, sometimes they speed up, faster, faster, building to some crescendo, then silence, complete silence, worse than the drums. Because in silence, imagination fills the void. What caused the drums to stop? What ritual was completed? What evil unleashed? The guards report these incidents. Message sent via mirror to Karas Galadon. The drums sound. That is all. No interpretation, no explanation, just acknowledgement. Galadriel records each occurrence, keeps count, watches for patterns. In the last century, the drums have sounded more frequently. Once per year in TA 2900, once per month in TA 2950, weekly by TA 3000. Now, in TA 3018, they sound almost nightly. The escalation is clear. Something approaches, something prepares. The war is coming. Everyone knows. Everyone feels it. The question is not if, only when. Aragorn, during his visits to Lothlorien, would sometimes stand at the northern flats, looking toward Dol Guldur. He fought near there once, led rangers in raids against orc parties. He knows the enemy, has faced them in battle. For him, the threat is not abstract, not distant. It is remembered pain, remembered fear, remembered blood. He would tell the Galadrim, "They will come. You must be ready." The elves would nod. "We watch." Watching is not enough, Aragorn would insist. But the elves did not increase their preparations, did not change their routines. They simply watched. This frustrated Aragorn. He could not understand their fatalism, their acceptance. To him, a warrior, threat must be met with action, with preparation, with aggression. But the Galadrim were not warriors in the mortal sense. They were guardians, protectors. Their role was preservation, not conquest. They would defend when attacked, fight when necessary, but they would not strike first, would not preempt, would not aggress. This restraint might seem like weakness, but it was philosophical, ethical, a choice to not become what they opposed. Violence, even in defense, corrupts, changes the wielder, makes them more like the enemy. The Galadrim understood this. They would fight if necessary, but only when necessary, not before. So they watched Dol Guldur and waited, and prepared their spirits more than their weapons, because the true battle would not be physical. It would be spiritual, a test of will, of commitment, of resistance to despair. Arrows cannot win that battle. Only courage, only memory, only the determination to preserve beauty even in darkness. This the Galadrim possessed. This they cultivated. And this, ultimately, would matter more than any fortress, any weapon, any strategy. In the workshops and flets, daily life continued. The rope makers twisted fibres, the weavers worked their looms, the guards stood watch, the lawmasters taught, the singers sang. All the routines of Lothlorien, unchanged for centuries, continuing now. But there was a difference, subtle, hard to name, an awareness, a sense of impending change. Like the moment before thunder, when the air goes still, when birds stop singing, when everything waits. The Galadrim felt this, all of them. Some spoke of it, quietly. In small groups, the age turns, the time comes. Soon now, others didn't speak, but they felt it, in their bones, in their ancient awareness. The Third Age was ending, and with it, Lothlorien. Galadriel knew the date, the exact moment. She had known it for 3,000 years. This knowledge was her burden, her private grief. She knew when her ring would fail, when the preservation would end, when time would rush back in, when autumn would come to the Golden Wood, for real this time. Final autumn, when the mallorn trees would age 1,000 years in moments, when the leaves would turn, would fall, would decay, when the timeless light would fade, when her people would have to choose, sail west to Valinor, or remain and fade into shadow, become houseless spirits, lingering memories, ghosts. Most would sail. She knew this, had foreseen it. The ships waited at the grey havens. Círdan the shipwright prepared them, built them slowly, knowing they would be needed. The exodus would be vast. Thousands of elves, from Lothlorien, from Rivendell, from scattered refugees, all going west, all leaving Middle-earth forever. This was the destiny of the Eldar, foretold from the beginning. Middle-earth was never their permanent home, only a stopping place, a temporary dwelling. The true home was Valinor, the undying lands, the west, where the Valar dwelt, where the trees once stood, where the light of a man still shone. Some elves had never seen it. Born in Middle-earth, knew the west only through songs, through the transmitted longing of their elders. But the longing was real, visceral, deep in elvish nature. The call of the sea, the pull of distant shores, the knowledge that somewhere, elsewhere, home waited. Galadriel had resisted this call for 7,000 years. She was exiled, banned from return, for her role in the rebellion of the Noldor, for leaving Valinor against the Valar's will, for the kinslaying, though she took no direct part. The ban had been lifted, perhaps. The Valar forgave, perhaps, but she did not test it, did not attempt to return, because there was work yet in Middle-earth, preservation yet to accomplish, beauty yet to protect. But the time was coming, when the work would end, when preservation would fail, when she would have no choice. She would sail, she would go west, she would leave Middle-earth forever, and Lothlorien would end with her departure. The trees would die, the flets would rot. The bridges would fall. In 100 years nothing would remain, only ruins, overgrown, forgotten. Mortals would pass through and not know what stood there, would see old trees and never guess they once glowed, would walk through clearings and never sense the songs that echoed there. All of it lost, all of it gone. This was the price of the ending age. This was the cost of time's return. But memory would remain. In Valinor, in the minds of those who sailed, Lothlorien would live forever, in the memories of the Galadrim, perfect and preserved, golden, timeless, forever as it was in its final perfect centuries. This was Galadriel's consolation. This was her peace. Nothing truly ends while memory remains. Nothing truly dies while the story is told, and the Galadrim would tell the story, would sing the songs. For all eternity in the west, Lothlorien would become legend, would join the other lost realms. Gondolin, Doriath, Nargothrond, all the beautiful fallen kingdoms of the Eldar, remembered, mourned, celebrated. This was the fate of all elvish works, temporary glory, permanent memory. The Galadrim understood this, accepted it, even found peace in it. Better to end in beauty, better to be preserved in memory than to linger, to decay, to become corrupted. Better a clean ending, a chosen departure, than slow degradation. So they continued their routines, made their rope, wove their cloth, stood their watches, sang their songs, not in desperation, not in denial, but in defiance, gentle defiance, quiet resistance. We will be beautiful until the end. We will preserve until preservation fails. We will remember until there is nothing left to remember, and then we will sail, and in the west we will remember still, forever. The stars wheel overhead, the same stars that shone when elves first awoke, the same stars that will shine after the last elf departs. The Galadrim watch them, navigate by them, tell time by their positions, find comfort in their constancy, because everything else changes, everything else ends, but the stars remain, and in the stars perhaps there is hope that something persists, that something continues, that even when Lothlorien falls, even when the Third Age ends, even when all memory fades, the stars will remember, will hold the light, will keep watch over Middle-earth forever. And that is enough. Subscribe to The Lorekeeper for more deep dives into Middle-earth history. New lore for sleep every week.